All right, everyone. Good day. Welcome to our today's webinar. Before we even get into our today's topic, I just wanted to say hello to everyone and hope you're all doing great. I know this pandemic situation is not something everyone were prepared for, but we are trying to beat it and come out of this through flying colors. So hope everyone is safe, everyone is doing good, and it's just very soon we'll all be able to see each other and we'll be able to get back to our normal lives. And I also wanted to extend our thank you for signing up for this webinar, even though it was planned at the very last moment. Uh, and let's look into this and let's get started with our today's topic, shall we? So over here today, we are all aware about version 11.3, which is 11.300, and we just need to know what we are up to in this new version. So today we are going to introduce the new unified agent for asset discovery in Service Test Plus, and not just that, we are also going to see other features that we have implemented along this release. All right, so here are certain things that we are going to look into as a major features and a couple of other minor enhancements and new features that we have introduced. So here is a short agenda that we're going to look. So there are a lot of features though, but we have taken only a couple of them. So we wanted to talk about the unified agent that we have released for asset discovery, then the extensions of ZIA. So we all know that ZIA has been enhanced to handle like approvals, to handle reopening of tickets. Now we have done template prediction and category prediction. Then we're going to take a quick preview of Microsoft Teams enhancements. Then we are also going to just get to know that there's this antivirus component that we have integrated with Service Desk to scan the attachments that's being sent into the system. Then there are like custom triggers that we have introduced. So these are all kind of information so that you would know how and in what way Service Desk could be extended beyond its capabilities. With 11.1300, which is 11.3 of Service Desk Plus, when users upgrade Service Desk Plus or Asset Explorer, they are going to be introduced to Desktop Central. Now, we all have been waiting for a single agent to make our scanning and our like asset management really easy and simple. So we've been all wanting this. And we all know that Service Desk Plus was building its own agent and Desktop Central was building its agent for its capabilities. Later, then we realized that we're just going to stay with one agent, and that agent would be developed by Desktop Central, and Service Desk Plus would be consuming the benefits of the agent that is offered. Now, what we have done is that here are a couple of cases with conditions and scenarios that we are going to go through, and we're going to understand how is this agent available and how you could use it. So what you're looking at over here is an installation which is not integrated or installed with Desktop Central, which means that I've upgraded to 11.1300 and I get a banner right here on my screen saying that with this update, replace the existing agents with Desktop Central agents. So if at all if you're a professional customer or an enterprise customer, you're upgrading to the latest version, here is the message so that you know you don't need to use the Service Desk agent anymore, and you need to go with your Desktop Central agent. Well, while you are at it, okay, while you're going to look into the agent, so you'd be excited, you just look for the admin tab, and this is a new thing. So we adjusted the toolbar. So I always click on assets thinking it's admin, but actually the gear symbol is the admin. So we have to get used to this spinning gear. That is your admin tab. So go to agent configuration, and over here, there would be an intrusive screen that says that you have to download the Desktop Central and integrate it with Service Desk Plus. So this is something you cannot skip. First thing. The next thing is that if you've already had Desktop Central, all you have to do is just replace Service Desk agent with Desktop Central. That's something we primarily do with all the customers, so they have no problem. It's just that for customers who are from Professional and Enterprise Edition, when they are going to upgrade to 11.3, and if they don't have Desktop Central, this is a place where they would have to deploy the agent. You may ask why it is so intrusive, why it needs to be decided by the users themselves. couple of things. Users might not want to use Service Desktop Central for scanning, so they may skip it. So the scanning of Windows, Linux, or Mac machines would not be even a thing, so they could just skip that. All right. If customers feel like, yes, we have agent for Windows, now we have to go with Desktop Central. So this is where they start. So you download the Desktop Central, you start installing, and once you've done, you can just like click here to integrate, and it takes you right into the admin configuration where you could just go ahead and integrate Service Desk Plus with Desktop Central. With these integrations done and dusted off, then if you head to the admin tab, and if you go right into the agent configuration, you would then see how things work. So before all of this, I just quickly forgot one thing. I'm just going to do that. The VPN is just kicked out, so I'm just going to log in as and when we are doing it. So with 11.3, we are going to make sure that users are going to be aware about the unified agent, all right? And customers have to install them. It is not going to be a silent installation. And as I said before, the reason we don't want it to be a silent installation is that we want users to decide if they wanted to go with Desktop Central or if they wanted to skip it out, all right? So we have now understood when I do a fresh installation, I will be prompted for the new agent. All right. So I have to decide, I have to go ahead, set it up, and only then I can move further. Now I've installed the agent, everything is good. How it is going to work for me. Now, this is a beta version, what you're looking at. So the UI and the header would be a little different. So do ignore that. So under admin, if I go to the agent configuration, I would be able to see the configuration part over here. All right, so I have the details, I have the agents. So let's take a look at what are the benefits you get over here. Now, you get 3 different agents, one for Windows, Linux, and Mac. So using these agents, you can deploy it to all your Windows machines. So the steps are here for Windows, Linux, and Mac. And not just that, if you wanted to deploy it through Windows Image, we have steps for the same. All right. So these are the agents that you're going to download individually for each of these operating systems, and you are going to deploy it over there. This is number one. Number two, the details that you see over here, the server IP and the public IP, these are information from your Desktop Central. So basically what you do over here is that you integrate your service desk with Desktop Central. So you provide the details over here. Next, if Desktop Central has a public IP address where it has the netting facility over there, you can just go ahead and provide it into your Service Desk Plus. So what this basically does is, if Desktop Central is installed on premises, but still it has a public IP address for scanning assets which are outside the network, you can just go ahead and use them over here. So that is what you do for your public IP address. Now, once you've done all of this, you can click on Save. Now, before you do that, just keep an eye on the agent security settings. Why is this so important? Now, after you deploy the agents, and if the user feels like they are kind of being tracked and they just decide to uninstall the agent, well, that's not going to give us any benefit. So you have this option to restrict users from uninstalling as well as stopping the agent service. These two are kind of important. Just make sure you enable these options on your admin agent configuration. Next is that if you want to do a remote control session, you can just enable this so that the end user would know that someone is trying to do a remote control operation. You just don't need to like sneak in and view get access to someone's computer. So this is an option that you would enable. So these are the important configurations that you would do on this particular screen. Download the agent. You have the techniques on the right-hand side that you could use. Go ahead, deploy it to all the workstations respectively. As and when it's getting installed, then you know how it's going to work. It's going to scan and push the asset information right into your Service Desk Plus. Now, if you want to install the agent, always remember you have to install Desktop Central. All right, so this is the integration section, so that's why it's right here. But if I go to admin and if I go right into my agent configuration, this screen will never change until I download Desktop Central, install it, and integrate, because it is important that you need to have the agent. Why is it so important that we need to have the agent? First thing, after this is done, if you wanted to scan Windows machines, all right, you go to the admin section, you go to the domain scan. When you add the domain, it is very clear that you need to have the agent set so that the agent is going to scan your entire domain. So without that, your Windows scan is not going to work. The next is that the network scan. So in the network scan, of course, you can scan your printers, routers, switches, access points, everything. But if you are deciding to scan your Windows, Linux, or Mac operating systems, well, you have to choose your agent. So that is the reason why, again, your agents should be installed before you set into the scanning process. So we have seen why it is so important that you do the agent, and why it's very, very important to have Desktop Central, even though you're not going to use it, because it's primarily for the service desk scanning to work. Now you have configured the agent, you've deployed it, you have like set up the scanning process everywhere. Now the assets are being scanned, it is reported right into Service Desk Plus. Well, let's take a look at what we get. All right. So this is my assets tab. I'm going to go right into it. And as you could see, when the Desktop Central agent is being installed, you see the scan type as Desktop Central agent. All right. Now, it is quite important that we pay attention to this, is because this agent is not only powerful enough for scanning, it also fetches the warranty information of certain workstations, such as like Dell, Lenovo, Toshiba, and of course, as and when we are enhancing, adapting to the market technology, we will also be extending the warranty information for other models and vendors too. So agent is important for fetching the warranty information. Now, earlier, I'm pretty sure you would know that we would have to like replace the old agent when there is a newer version available. Well, if you have this latest agent installed with Desktop Central, you don't need to worry about upgrades of the agent when there is one available. The system is just going to auto upgrade itself with the new agent. So these are a couple of things that we need to notice when we are looking at the asset. So agent is unified. So if you have Service Desk Desktop Central, yes, you could just use the Desktop Central agent even for Service Desk Plus. All right. So moving forward, customers have Desktop Central. If they don't have Desktop Central, it doesn't matter. They have to go for the Desktop Central installation in order for them to use the agent. Next is that it fetches warranty information, the agent self-upgrades itself, and this is kind of all the benefits that either the new installation customers would get, or an existing customer that is who is upgrading from professional or the enterprise edition. Now, to do the remote control, we have the remote control option, and the same procedure goes for everything. The technician should have a remote control role on their profile, which means that if I go to admin and if I go to technicians, I need to have the role assigned. So I just go over here, admin tab, and I go right into my technician's profile. I could choose any technician for that matter. And we should just make sure each and every technician has the privilege to perform the remote control. So which means that you need to associate the role, which is AE remote control. All right, so this is a role that should be assigned. That's number one. Number two, in order for you to do a remote control process or even to see that button out there, you need to make sure under admin, we have an option under general settings, self-service portal settings, and right under the general segment, you have enable remote control for all workstations. So this is a global configuration, and what you associate to a technician's profile is for specific users configuration. So only when these two match, a technician will be able to see this remote control button, and when they hit Desktop Central, the remote control is established through the Desktop Central agent. It asks for acknowledgement. I go ahead and say so, and the session is being initiated. Now, over here, people need to know that when you are initiating the remote control, you would get pop-ups, which is basically to open an alternate screen. Make sure you acknowledge the pop-up in order for the tab to open up. That's one thing. The other thing is that The remote control that we are talking about, it has a couple of differences, and we need to focus on what it is. What is happening right now is a remote desktop session. All right. Now, no one is logged into that machine, so it is a remote desktop session. If someone is logged into this particular workstation that I've remote into, it is going to be a screen sharing session. So it is a physical device. And if someone is logged into that device, and when I do a remote control, it is going to be a screen sharing session. And if no one is logged in, and if I'm just going to hit the remote control, it's going to be your regular RDP session. That's one thing. Number two, if it is a virtual machine, if it's not a physical machine, if it's a virtual machine, it is always going to be a remote desktop session, and it is not going to be a screen sharing session. All right, so this is a couple of things that you need to notice, that you need to be aware about the remote control. Physical machine, user logged in, it is remote screen sharing session. Physical machine, user not logged in, or if it is a virtual machine, it is an RDP session. So these are the things that we need to note. Once the remote control is established, we have a lot of these features like the screen resolutions for Control Alt Delete to access right into the workstation, take screenshots. Then you have a couple of quick launch features like the command prompt and device manager, the power options, admin tasks. So you have all of these. You can do text messages across with the user. You can do voice call, video call. Then, since I'm remoting it from a Mac machine, that is why I don't see the file transfer over here. But if someone is installing it, so if you're looking at from a Windows machine, if the RDP is done from a Windows machine, you will have a file transfer session over here. So basically, you can transfer files to the end user during the remote control. So that is one added option you would get. And also, always remember that the mission, the installation or the upgrade, if it is done on a Linux machine, the Desktop Central integration won't work. All right. Now, for myself, it's installed on a non-Windows operating platform. So the integration would not work because Desktop Central is a Windows-based solution. So if I have my service disk on Linux machine, it is not going to work. So keep that in mind. And if a customer is using Linux machine as their server, we need to make them be aware that they have to migrate to a Windows server for the scanning and for the integration to work. All right. Now we have seen all the features and benefits that the unified endpoint management solution offers with Service Desk Plus through Desktop Central. All right. A single agent is consumed, and that agent is not only going to perform remote control, it is also going to help us with scanning, fetch warranty information. All right. So these are the things that I'm going to rediscuss again. With the new agent, it's going to help you scan with Linux, Mac, and Windows operating systems. All right. And it fetches automated warranty information, advanced remote control for troubleshooting. And again, for advanced remote control, it's only available for customers upgrading from Professional Enterprise Edition, someone from Standard who is upgrading to Professional Enterprise, or if it's a new customer, they need to be purchase add-on licensing for the same. All right. Then system management to monitor process, services, software, etc. as on an organization's remote computer. Again, you need to get it as an add-on. So we also had add-ons that we used to call as like system tools, which is now being just defined as UEM Remote Access Plus. All right, so you need to purchase that add-on, and if a customer is already using system tools, they don't need to worry about it. As and when they're upgrading, the same feature will be retained. So for upgrading or migrating customers for professional and enterprise, they need not worry about the remote control scanning or the warranty information, or with the system tools, whatever features available, it's going to be there. All right. The wake on LAN, boot up remote computers individually or in bulk, it's going to be part of the system tools. Then announcements, communication through announcements, text or voice chat, they're all going to be part of the remote control features that we just discussed. And for existing customers, it would always be there. Now, we are going to look into a different terminology. Again, let's see what it is. UEM Remote Access Plus add-on for Service Desk Plus or Asset Explorer, which means the Unified Agent for Service Desk Plus offers several remote ITAM capabilities in addition to asset discovery and warranty management. These includes remote control, voice and video chat, wake on LAN, announcements, and system manager. Well, organizations can utilize these capabilities in their service desk instances by purchasing UEM RAP add-on. So this is the name of the licensing if a new customer would like to do the remote control. All right. And for that, it is an add-on for all your sales queries, like licensing queries, add-on pricing, and so on. Our sales team will always be there to help you out. So you can reach out to our sales team. And the pricing plan for UEM Remote Access Plus add-on are available in the pricing sheet at the Manage Engine store. So we do have this right at the store. But if you have any questions about what would happen if a customer is upgrading, will they get the remote control? Yes. If they already have system tools, what would happen? It's just that the name that changes, but the tool, the application would still be there, and they don't need to worry about it. It's just for new customers. They don't get the remote control or the system tools, and there are like different licenses that they need to purchase. So Unified Agent for Asset Discovery and Service Desk Plus for Asset Explorer. So it's only available for 1300 for Service Desk Plus and 6900 version of Asset Explorer. All right. And then we also have this concept of wide area network. We call that WAN. Now, if the customers have the probes deployed on different locations, all right, then when they upgrade the probes, of course, Desktop Central has to be deployed because it's no longer the Asset Explorer, the services agent, it is the Desktop Central's agent. So when you are upgrading the probe, yes, you have to also go set up the Desktop Central. And it's quite simple. Whatever scanning processes and installation procedures that we have seen over here, it's going to be the same on the probe as well. All right, so the agent is going to continuously push the information to the Service Desk Plus server, and not just that, it is also going to fetch in the information of all the Windows, Linux, or Mac machines of that particular site and push it right into Service Desk Plus. Now, again, these are all items that we are refining again and again, just so that we are all aware about how it works. And you would get this PPT. So for sure, you would get this PPT. So we have just put it in a tabular format to make it a lot more easier without the Desktop Central agent integration and with the Desktop Central's integration. So whatever customer who don't have Desktop Central, if they're going to upgrade, it's just that they need to install the Desktop Central server and use the agent alone. So they're not going to use Desktop Central, but it's just that the agent that they need to use, for which they need to install the product. Once once the agent is being used, you can just go ahead and perform asset discovery, remote control, and warranty tracking capabilities. All right. Now, for customers who have purchased UEM Remote Add-on Plus add-on, formerly called as System Tools, can utilize the capabilities such as chat, wake on LAN, announcements, and System Manager, in addition to asset discovery and warranty management. So whoever has purchased the System Tool add-ons before, they can just use it as such when they upgrade. The only thing is you would have to install Desktop Central. But if you already have Desktop Central, well, all of these are part of it. All right. And the only thing you need to make sure is that you need to have the relevant Desktop Central license in order for those assets to be scanned, added into Desktop Central, and the same asset to be there in Service Desk Plus. Because when you do a remote control or when you are trying to do the wake on LAN feature, the control goes to Desktop Central, and then you get the response back. If the customer is using 2,000 assets in Service Desk, but 4,000 assets in Desktop Central, then you need to make sure the licenses of the workstations match, because when you initiate these kind of sessions from Service Desk, To have that particular asset listed into Services Plus, you need to match the licensing, number one. Number two, for Desktop Central relate, these are all Desktop Central related features. We don't manage them. So when you are going to refer a remote control option or wake on LAN option, that control is being passed to the Desktop Central. And from there, when the agent gets the response, it's going to initiate the process. So that's the reason why we need to make sure the Desktop Central and Service Desk assets match. And that's the reason why the agent should be working. And the screen would also be like a lot more intuitive because it's going to give you all the warnings right there in the user interface. It's not just going to let you skip it if it feels like the session needs to be validated. All right. So it is going to give you all the bells and whistles right on the screen. If the Desktop Central is not reachable, you would get a red alert over here on the top. And again, if it's a new installation, this is something you cannot cancel. You need to like use it, install it in order for you to scan the agent. So that's how this would be listed. Then what are the other differences? So also wanted to discuss about how do new customers access the unified endpoint, unified agent and its capabilities without Desktop Central. As we've discussed, the unified agent is available in Professional and Enterprise Edition. It offers asset discovery warranty tracking capabilities for all the nodes purchased under Service Desk Plus. Because you don't have Desktop Central, it only looks into your Desktop Centrals. It only looks into your Service Desk Plus asset and its licensing. Well, if you have Desktop Central, then it's the same information that you need to make sure you match the asset information of both Service Desk Plus and Desktop Central. So when you have any license-based queries, yes, you could contact our sales team. You can even refer to us. The pricing is already there at the store. You could refer to it so that you would know how it works. But if a customer is already using the feature, it means it's going to be there. The feature would not be removed. It's just that for new customers, we would think that there would be remote control, but it would not be, so that they have to purchase the license. So that's the only thing. System tools are the regular stuff. If you want more features of Desktop Central, you go with system tools. If you already have them, then you will still have them with the upgrade. All right. So with the Desktop Central's configuration, we have now discussed about the unified agent of Service Desk Plus, its features, its capabilities, and how you configure. The next is that we are going to discuss about the ZIA. So we all have seen ZIA. We all have used ZIA in Service Desk Plus on premises. We're just going to now look into its capabilities, what it offers in the latest version. So ZIA is our AI-based power assistant. Now it suggests both ticket categories and templates during ticket creation. All right, so that's important. People need to be aware about the categories and templates. Now, how does this actually work is that ZIA would get trained based on the relevant category and template while creating a request. So based on whatever you have earlier, when you enable the configuration, it's going to get trained on the data that you have in the past. So what you have is based on which it would be trained. If at all, the data is incorrect or so, you can disable the training and like re-enable based on the newly created data. It works. So we are going to see how it is done. The predicted category will be suggested while creating requests through web forms. All right. In other modes, ZIA will apply the category automatically. So the prediction suggestion is only when you do it through the web form. And templates will be suggested by ZIA only for requests created through the portal and when you're using the default request template. All right. So I'm just going to take you right into the application and I'm going to talk you through about the feature. So go to admin. And again, admin is no longer going to be under the three dots. It's your rolling gear symbol. Go to admin. We have ZIA configuration. And all we have to do is that go ahead and enable, assign, or suggest category prediction, such as template prediction. So this is something we just enable it under the admin section. Once we are done with that, all right, we go right into our ticket, the request tab, and then we go right into our templates. So here is my list view. And let me just wait for the screen to load and refresh. The UI is a little bit different. The options that you see on the list view is kind of like different. All right, so we'll just wait for the screen to load fully. And over here, the quick create the catalogs are moved to your right. So I just go over here and I go for my default request. All right. imagine I want to create a new request. So Sandra is creating a new request for her, and she's going to ask for a new laptop request. And she's just clicking on add request. When I do this, all right, what Zia does is that based on the data that I already had in my system. So imagine like years and years I've been using the application, and these type of requests have been categorized with a template called request a laptop. And if it was categorized as hardware requests, well, that is what would be suggested. So the training is done based on the older data that you already have. If the data is not accurate, or if the predictions are not accurate, let's see how it would work. But right now, since it is, of course, a laptop request template that I need to use because it's a new service basically, and the category is hardware, I just choose these and I click on apply. But since you have other fields that is mandatory, it takes me to the template, it prefixes the values. So now what I created as an incident is going to be converted into a service automatically. I don't need to do that myself. Zia is helping me to do that. So while I'm creating the ticket, it not only gives me the prediction analysis, but it also tells me like what are the additional information I need to fill for that template and move on with it. All right. Likewise, if I just go over here and I say default request again, and this time, again, it's going to be Sandra, and Sandra is going to create a request for create a request for new joinee. All right, new joinee request, and she's going to click on add request. Again, as you see, the category prediction is not understood yet by Zia, but it brings in the template prediction. Yes, it is multiple user onboarding. I click on apply. It comes up with all the other information that is required. So I just need to focus on this. I go ahead and categorize it, user administration, and I say new employee. All these information will be predicted by Zia. I click on add request. Now we have seen how the template or the template and categories predictions work along with Zia. All right. Now there are other scenarios where I just go ahead, click on like default request, and I just go ahead and say, let's create another request and see how that works. So again, it's going to be Sandra, and this time I'm going to say printer problems, and I click on add request. So what happens is that it gives me a category suggestion called operating system. Well, this is not what I want. If this is what I want, I choose it, click on apply. If this is not what I want, I click on reject, which means this particular technician is creating a ticket. The suggestion didn't work. He or she rejected it. Now, if they want to send a recommendation to the user, they could like just go ahead, send it for recommendation, and it goes to the end user through this variable. They can choose which template that they need to recommend, and they can do so. So it's printer problems. So here is another technician. Okay, so this person is called Paul. So Paul logs in, and Paul is going to look into the same ticket that was just created. All right, so when Paul clicks on this particular request, Paul should get a pop-up on this particular ticket. So maybe on some other ticket. So what basically happens is if it's a totally different technician, the technician would get a pop-up on their screen saying what is the exact prediction that they want to go with. So this is how Zia is going to give you a template or category prediction. If you want to recommend something, you can go ahead and recommend the template so the end user could validate it. But if you're doing it through the web form, the system is going to use machine learning to read and understand the previous data and suggest templates and categories accordingly. If I don't choose with the suggestions, the other technicians will also be prompted with the same. So based on whatever decision that they want to take, all right, so they could just go ahead and view it. So here are like old tickets that we have. So as and when the users are clicking on it, and if the templates or the category is not suggested, they would get a pop-up. But if they feel like they also want to recommend some templates, they could just go ahead and do that. So this is how the Zia configuration works. Now, if you feel that we made a lot of new tickets, we have like a lot of new values manually mapped, so Zia should retrain itself. You could just go to the admin, uncheck and recheck the options, and it should be fine. So the next is that enhancements to the Microsoft Teams integration. So uh, what we have what I'm personally seeing with customers is that customers aren't aware about the Service Desk Plus and Microsoft's integration that we have released within the product. Now, this is on premises, so if you all know, and customers are so surprised to hear that Service Desk Plus could integrate with a cloud services of Microsoft. And the answer is yes. And we've also been handling webinars so that people are aware that Service Desk Plus on premises can be integrated with Microsoft services. Now, Microsoft Teams have a lot of benefits when it's been integrated. We are just going to look into two major features today, which is like creating tickets through Teams and working on approval actions. So with no further delay, we're not going to look into the configurations, but I can just give you a quick tour of it. Um, so I just go right into my admin, all right? And there is a separate webinar. We have separate videos for what are the prerequisites that you need. So you just need to make sure that all of them are, all the prerequisites are met in order for it to work. All right, so under admin, we have Microsoft services such as actionable messages. We have calendar, we have Teams integration, all right? So these are certain things that we could integrate Service Desk Plus with, and the integrations are available right within the admin help card itself. So it's going to be a lot more easier for users to integrate. Now, once you provide the details over here, as well as in Azure and Microsoft Teams, and the integrations are done, it's quite simple. So all user has to do is that use the slash command and click on enter. So this is an Teams setup that has already been integrated with Service Desk Plus. All right, create request. So these are like a couple of new commands. And again, I think I just used space. I would just do create request. Okay, spell error. So I'm just going to use the slash command create request. So what it does is that right from Teams, I can just provide subject and a description, and I just click on create request. Now what happens is from Teams, the ticket is getting created right into your Service Desk Plus as and when we are speaking. So this way, users who are pretty much relying on Teams for their collaboration, they could just perform these operations right from within Teams and be done with it. I get my ticket ID over here, the details are over here. I click on it, it takes me right into the ticket. And of course, we have this combined view. If I even need to view it, I could view it right from within the request view. So with the Teams integration, I could just not only like get updates, work on tickets, I could just go ahead and create new tickets too. The other one is that I can go ahead and look into my pending approvals. And no matter how many other approvals I have, I could just go ahead and take action of the approval right from within Service Desk Plus. So I've just clicked on pending approvals, and here is my approval that's pending. I can just take action right from within Teams in order for this particular action to be registered into Service Desk Plus. So if there's an approval that's pending, I don't need to log in to my mail, or if I don't need to log into Service Desk Plus in order to look into the approval and approve it, I can just do it right from within Microsoft Teams. All right. So these are all a couple of new features that we have introduced alongside with the unified agent for Service Desk Plus. All right, so what is next? Let's take a look at antivirus component for scanning the attachments. So with GDPR and control, with a lot of processes and policies and control, we have embedded antivirus solution right into Service Desk Plus, and let's take a look at it. So under Service Desk, if I go to Service Desk Plus, all right, so these are configurations that don't need a demonstration, but it's just that we need to be aware of what are the customer requirements that we have built within the product. And the ESM directory is no longer outside, it's either in the admin, or if you just click on this box, you have the ESM directory over here. So just to head to ESM directory, and then on the left-hand side, you have security settings. And in the security settings, you have this advanced tab. And if you scroll down, you have the option to enable antivirus scannings for file uploads. So you can define the credentials and details what is being mentioned. So this way, whenever you are uploading an attachment, it is going to be scanned by Service Desk Plus for any virus, and only then it will be uploaded right into Service Test Plus. So this is one feature that you could make use of. And also, if you have customers who are asking for like a lot of restrictions on passwords, its policies and procedures, well, there are features over here. So you could like either disable paste of password, disable paste for password field, or you could also like perform lot of password policy operations. So these are features that's been there even before this release. It's just that you get to know that with these releases and with these features, it's kind of like important that we are aware what we have, so that if customers are looking for these options, we can easily say what we scale for. Now, the other thing is that custom triggers and custom functions. Now, we have seen that these custom triggers and custom functions are services that we have for request, change. All right, so these are services that we have for request and change, and we have now extended that to projects and tasks. All right, so I go right into admin, and I go right into API. So, and under admin API, just click on the documentation. And this is a tip that I would always take along when I am talking with customers or prospects. Now, they would say, does service desk integrate or fetch tickets from a third-party solution that which we haven't even heard of before? Well, yes, with the APIs, it is possible, but provided the other solution should also support the API. So we also integrate with not just projects. Let me just confirm. Yeah, projects. We also do it for tasks. So projects, tasks, and if you look into the other modules like CMDB, admin, requests, solutions, then we have for change. So for all of this, you could make use of the APIs that is available in the documentation. All right, and not just that, you could try them out over here. Now, let's say if I have to add an attachment to a different solution, I provide a URL of the solution, and I would also say what configurations needs to be done, and so on. So that particular thing could also be tested right from within my tool that I've packaged within the application. And once I've tested, I'm good to like implement this solution right into my customer setup. So if you look into these documentations, anything that you could see, you would be able to know that what we support and what we do not. So based on this, you could like share us the scripts and we'll be happy to help you. So these are just for you to know what we support, and whatever requirements that the customers come up with, just let us know and we are there always. All right, so this is about Zia. So we have taken the custom triggers, custom menu, all of that is for like incident change modules. Now we are extending the operations to tasks and projects. So we also have APIs for problem management. So again, we have APIs for problem management. And what we need to be aware over here is that there's custom schedules or the request custom menu support is yet to be released for the problem management. But if you want to like perform cross module operations or cross application operations, you could make use of the problem management in Service Desk Plus. All right. So these are a couple of other features that we have introduced, and a couple of other quality of life improvements in the latest version of Service Desk Plus. Service Desk Plus is now available as an add-in for Microsoft Outlook. So you guys must have seen this in the cloud. We have a Microsoft Outlook add-in, which is nothing but you have this add-in on your cloud, like in your Microsoft mailbox. So someone sends an email for a new ticket, you don't need to come back into your help desk. Right from within Microsoft using the add-in that we have just released, you could just go ahead and create a ticket. All right, you don't need to switch back to Service Desk Plus to create a ticket. You can add notes. You could like even pick up tickets. So these are all the options that you get when you use the add-in plugin. So that's also released. It's quite easy. It's very simple. It hardly takes 5 minutes to configure that. Configure and deploy, I would say. So you could do that. Then we have advanced analytics integration for survey module. So Analytics Plus team is also speeding up their integrations with us. So right now we have survey for Services Plus customers, and they can also create, manage data and reports as how they used to do it earlier with Service Desk Plus. All right. Then, so just as how we support hardware reconciliation or workstation reconciliation, we also support software reconciliation. So basically, you could like add a software, and if the same software is repeated twice, or if it's a totally new software but the naming earlier was wrong, you could just go ahead and alter the data, and you could make sure you go ahead and like configure software reconciliation. So the moment you do it, all the software will future come into the respective repository. So with this, I'm wrapping up our today's webinar. All right, and in today's webinar, we've discussed a lot of these operations on how the unified endpoint management works, how does the Microsoft services integrate with Service Test Plus. And to be honest, I've been working with most of you and with your alongside your customers, and I've personally seen that customers feel that the agent is not up to date, or they don't know what are the solutions that we have, or they even are still till they are even surprised that Service Test Plus integrates with cloud products. So we just need to make sure we communicate all of this. And here is one important thing. If you have a customer who has Service Desk, Desktop Central, Patch Manager, and other solutions, just make sure those customers do not upgrade Desktop Central to the latest version. So there is this agent that we have to still bundle with Patch Manager. We are working on it. And if that agent is not bundled with Patch Manager, then the patch management solution won't work. So right now our teams have a workaround, but this is just a cautionary note. Note number one, if you have just Service Test Plus and Desktop Central, just make sure both of them are upgraded to the latest and work on it. But if you have solution like Patch Manager Plus, it's not yet fully bundled with the agent. So we just need to hold those customers off. The other thing is that if your customers are using scripts extensively, make sure they upgrade the customers to the latest version. All right. Sorry, make sure when they are upgrading it to the latest version, they need to be aware that the scripts are updated or the scripts are being changed. Because if they're using V1 version of APIs, it's all being changed to V3 version of the API. So they need to tweak the scripts in order for them to do the upgrade. So even for this, we have the solution. It's just that the dollar complete JSON file or whatever we call with version 1, that has to be updated accordingly. All right. So these two are like the very most important information that someone should be aware about. Please always remember we are here to help you. You can always email to me at santoshmahiban.v@servicetestplus.com. You can also email to our support. You can email to our sales team. For all licensing questions, you can absolutely email our sales team. If you have any questions as well, you could just go ahead and email me as well. santoshmaidan.v@servicedeskplus. At zohocorp.com. So Zoho, I'm just going to send it in chat. So there is my email address. So you could just make a note of it. So this is my email address. So any questions, you can let me know anytime. Thank you so much for all your time and patience. And do let us know if there's anything. Do stay safe, stay healthy. We would like get to meet you all very soon on a partner event, either in Chennai or at SFO with the go-karting as we did in 2015. Just stay safe and see you all very soon. Have a good day. Bye-bye.